Everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Keep Swing. I'm your host, Matt Stucko, and today we have such an extraordinary guest. We are so lucky to have her. She is the first and only woman athlete to play in one of the four North American major sports. She is just an absolute legend. She has an Olympic medal. She has her own statue. Man, I am probably not doing you justice by naming those three things, but Manon Rhéaume, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, I feel like if anybody ever introduces you, you've done so many firsts. I mean, it's hard to describe somebody who's accomplished so much.
Oh, thank you. I guess I had a passion for the game and I kept going, and I was able to, being the only female with a bunch of guys, accomplish all those firsts.
That's right. So we are going to get into your hockey career. And I think that one of the things that impresses me most about you, and what a lot of the viewers and the listeners will learn today about you, is you just have amazing character. I mean, you've been able to deal with so many different obstacles and different situations throughout your journey that we're going to get into over such a long period of time, and you've handled it with such class. So when did that all start? Did you get that kind of foundation from your family as a young kid?
Yeah, I had two brothers that played hockey. My dad was a coach, and no girls were playing hockey at the rink. So my brother was trying to be nice to me and said, "Oh, you can come and play with us outside, but we're going to dress you as a goalie and practice our shot on you." So at first I thought they were nice, but they really were using me. And one day my dad was at the dinner table and he said, "We're getting ready to go to a tournament, and I don't know which kids to pick to be the goalie because nobody really showed interest." And I look at my dad, I'm like, "Why not me? I do it all the time with my brother here. Why not at the rink?" So at first my dad and my mom look at each other. They were not sure, but then they let me try.
When it comes to the impact that you've had on people, whether it's a complete stranger, a young kid who wants to play hockey, anybody, whether it's in North America, Europe, it can literally be anywhere. Your impact really started with your family because, like you said, you had brothers who played. One of them ended up being a Stanley Cup champion with the New Jersey Devils. So when it does come to your family, I mean, had it not been for that one time when they asked if you want to play hockey, do you see yourself having accomplished everything that you did?
When I started playing the game, I just loved playing the game. I was like my brother. I didn't see anything different for me. The fact that I was only female, maybe that was the only different things. But other than that, I was like them, just want to play hockey, enjoy going to the rink every day. We were three kids in our family. So between the three of us and three different teams sometimes, we were at the rink like 7 days a week. I didn't know any better than that. So all I kept doing is every year try to go higher and make it to the next level and make it to the best level at every level. And I faced different adversity along the way, but I never give up.
Now, you did play some baseball when you were little too, during the summertime, and you also loved skiing, but you loved hockey so much that you chose hockey over both of those sports. And there was one time that you even broke a bone in your leg. You had a cast, and you still continue to play hockey with your brothers. That's how much you love the sport.
Yeah, so in Quebec, like most of the kids would play hockey in the winter and play baseball in the summer. But I grew up in a ski area. So not only I was playing hockey, but I was competing in ski. And then in the summer, I was playing baseball. And I remember one day I had to make a choice between hockey and skiing because my parents with the three of us were skiing and playing hockey. And they were going crazy, driving back and forth from the ski hill to the ice rink. And we had to make a decision. So my older brother picked skiing, and me and my younger brother decided to go with hockey. And I remember my ski coach, he was not happy with me. He's like, "Why are you picking hockey? You have no chance to make it high. You're never going to make it to the Olympics. If you do skiing, you can actually make it to the Olympics." And I said, "You know what? I like hockey better. I want to play hockey." So not only I made it to the NHL, I also made it to the Olympics. And the year I went to the Olympics in '98, one of my ski teammates was at the Olympic in ski. So that was a really cool moment.
That's right. So you still got your Olympic medal. You got your appearance in the Olympics, and you made it happen. You know, like you easily could have listened to that coach and gone ahead and skied, but you decided to take up hockey. And there's an interview with you that's online that people can Google. You're 11 years old, and the reporter had asked you if you're ready to fight to make it to the NHL to become a professional hockey player. And man, I get the chills just thinking about it. You said yes, and you looked into the camera, and you were only 11 years old, but it's just crazy that you knew at such a young age that like, hey, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do this. I don't care what anybody else says.
Yeah, when it gets started, when I was really young at 5 years old, and my dad said, "Okay, I'll take you to the rink and you can practice. We'll see how you can do." I remember him taking me down in the basement a week prior to it, and every night he would shoot pucks at me. And one of the time, I got the shot right on my shoulder, and I went down, and I started complaining. And my dad looked at me and said, "Get used to it." And I look up at him. He said, "If you want to do netting, it's not going to hurt. But if you're going to play hockey, sometimes it's going to hurt. So you need to get used to it." And that moment to me was a turning point, because I knew that if I want to do this, it's not going to be easy, and I'm going to have to keep going, and I'm going to face adversity and obstacle. But that's, if I want to play hockey, I'm going to have to face those things.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you right now, I don't even think that I would want to get inside of a net or inside the crease and stop anybody's shots because, like you said, those things could hurt. A puck is not fun to get hit by. So just that alone, I feel like there's a certain brave aspect to it.
When you grow up playing the game at this young age, you don't see the puck like you see the puck differently. And today's equipment is so much better. But I remember when I went to the camp in Tampa Bay, I didn't really grew a lot from when I was younger. So I had the same shoulder pads than when I was peewee. And the protection of the shoulder pads was barely anything. If you showed this to NHL goalie in today's world and you said, "Would you go play with this?" None of the goalie would like to play with those shoulder pads. And I remember going to the camp, and they had this big, bulky shoulder pads equipment in my locker room for me to wear. And I was not able to move with it. So I'm like, nope, I'm not wearing this. I'm going to wear my old one so I can move and be flexible. And I had bruises all over every single day, but I didn't care because I wanted to be able to perform better.
That's right. So Manon, she's referencing the time that the Tampa Bay Lightning had her come to her camp, which just such an amazing experience. And that's where you really made history. And we're going to dig deep into that. And I guess even going back a little bit further, you did kind of have some sort of practice with the Quebec Nordiques as well, also when you were around 11 years old, and you got a chance to practice with your favorite goalie. So you're really cut out to do this. But how pivotal of a moment was that for you as well, getting a chance to practice with the Quebec Nordiques? I mean, the hometown team of where you're from.
Yeah, when you're from Quebec, I don't know if people can really understand. It may be like the same thing, baseball in New York, but hockey in Quebec, it's like a religion. Like everybody watch hockey, and especially when the Quebec Nordiques and Montreal Canadiens was the biggest rivalry. If they would play like at the end of a week, everybody at school for a week long would talk about the game. So it's a big deal. And I become the first girl to ever play in a big Quebec Pee-wee tournament. So because of that, they invite me to come and practice with the Quebec Nordics, and did some interview and picture for the newspaper. And I remember for me, it was like life-changing, like being there with my idol, Danielle Bouchard, and practicing with them, facing those players. Of course, they were not shooting as hard for me, but it was just nice to be out there. It was just like a moment I'm always going to remember.
Oh, I'm sure. And it definitely puts you on the right path. And again, like, that's one of the things I love most about your story is that from such a young age, you knew what you want to do. There's not going to be anybody getting in the way of that. And you created so many opportunities for yourself when you easily just could have gone and played a different sport or listened to one coach or an opposing player, because we've mentioned so many of the great things that have happened, but there was a lot of difficult scenarios and sexism that you had come across, whether it was an opposing player telling you to go back home or you don't belong here or whatever it may have been. But the way that you were able to fight through it at such a young age is just remarkable and set you up for eventual success.
Yeah, like along the way, I remember when I started having some success, like all the guys were talking about like trying out for the AA level, the top level back then. And I was all excited. And I'm like, tell my dad I want to try out too. And my dad had some people telling him, don't bring your daughter here. We're not going to pick a girl. So it's a waste of time, but he still signed me up. And when we were going to camp, and he never told me that they didn't want a girl, and I would go through camp, and no matter how well I was doing, I was getting cut. And of course I was disappointed, but then the next morning I would wake up, I'm like, you know what, I'll try again next year and I'll work harder. And it really, really helped me to push harder. And I think I would have never made it to where I made it if I would have not faced those adversity when I was younger. So I thank my dad to this day to not trying to protect me from disappointment, but really make me see what's life it's all about, because it doesn't stop just in sports. You continue in life and you face those rejection, adversity, and if you don't know how to handle them, that makes life very hard. So that was really important to me. And then I had some players that I played against that, you know, I remember one game I made that big save in front of that player had a breakaway on me, and I made the big save, and we ended up winning the game. And he was so frustrated that when we shake hand at the end, he punched me in the stomach, and I just couldn't say anything. I had to be like pretending it didn't hurt, pretending it didn't bother me. So I even my first year pro, one of the players was not really happy having a girl on the team, and he would shoot pucks at my face every single practice, and I just couldn't say anything. I was like a rookie. I was a girl, so I just had to take it every day, and I never complained about it, and I just went like with every day practicing like nothing happened.
Yes, just think about what Manon just said. She would be taking pucks to the face, and many other goalies, if they were in that situation, they'd probably just get out of the net, especially like during warmups. If essentially getting targeted at the head, they'd be like, "All right, I'm out of here." Like next up, or you could shoot on empty net. You stayed in there. You really, really like went head on into this challenge and just absolutely like dominated, like just an absolute boss. And you really got your chance to test your skills and your talents in 1992. You were working the NHL draft in 1992, and you meet the Tampa Bay Lightning GM, Phil Esposito, another pivotal moment in your life.
Yeah, after my year of playing junior hockey, I was going to be turning 21-year-old the following year, and it's really hard for a goalie that didn't have that much experience in junior to play junior hockey at 21 years old. So I felt like, oh my gosh, like I'm done with hockey. I'm not going to have any other opportunity to go higher. So I was getting ready to go to university the following year. And in the summertime, I took a job with the TV station RDS in Montreal. And my first assignment was the NHL draft. So I went to the draft, and I was doing my work, and all of a sudden I met Phyllis Busto through a scout that sent him a tape of me playing. So he talked to me, said, "Would you be interested to come to the camp?" And when he said that, I thought he was joking at first. And he said to me, "We're going to send you a letter in the mail, and you have 2 weeks to respond if you want to come, and you're invited." So sure enough, I got the letter in the mail, which I still have. My mom still have it. And, I couldn't believe it, like when I got this letter. But then when I got this letter, a lot of people said to me, like, "Are you not afraid to look bad?" And like, they're only inviting you because you're a girl, and try to, discourage me to go ahead with it. But I told myself, you know what? So many times people said no to me because I was a girl. So if this time that's the reason they invite me, I don't care, because at the end of the day, I have to prove myself over there. So I'm going to have to perform. So it doesn't matter, like, and you see that with different players too. Sometimes some young players has connection, and they get invited somewhere instead of someone else. And it always happens. And it's what you make out of your training camp. And that's what I said to myself, I'm going to try to make the best out of it.
And what's amazing about that is the fact that during your career, from a young kid up until that point, I mean, you even said it yourself, not that many people wanted a girl to play. You got a lot of no's. You'd be cut from a team because you were a girl. And now you finally get a yes. So whether it was because a new team was starting and they wanted to get attraction to that new team, whether it was the training camp, and who knows, maybe, in my opinion, I don't think you were taking anybody's spot. You deserve to be there. But it's just amazing how you get that opportunity, And as soon as you get it, you struck while the iron was hot. And what a lot of people don't realize is that first game that you were put in, you had a shutout. I mean, you were great. And Phil Esposito even said too, he was like, you're beautiful, intelligent, but more importantly, you could stop a puck. So, I mean, like, you were no joke.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that people didn't talk about when I played my first exhibition game, that they didn't put me in an exhibition game just for the publicity. If I would have not done well in the camp, there's no way in the world that I would have played an exhibition game. And we had this mini tournament at the beginning of the camp. Right away, the first day on the ice was a game. And my first game in that mini tournament, I did not allow any goals and 14 shots. And I remember it's the first time that I ever heard Phil Esposito said, you may see her in an exhibition game, when we did a press conference after that game. But if it was not from that performance, it's no way he would have like mentioned that to the media. And then the rest of the tournament, I did very well. I finished with the third best average in that mini tournament. So they chose me to play an exhibition game because they knew that I had a good camp before. And that performance, nobody talk about it. They just talk about, oh, she's there because of publicity.
Right? I know. It's pretty crazy. I mean, like, man, there's so many different ways that we go with that one. But but all of that just kind of led up to that exhibition game. In 1992, September 23rd, you made history by becoming the first woman athlete to play in a professional sport game in the NHL. And it was against the St. Louis Blues. I mean, they had Brett Hull, they had Brendan Shanahan. They were no joke. You stopped 7 of 9 shots. I mean, you've told this story so many times, and this kind of goes to what I was saying before about your character, is that each time you do an interview or you recall a story, you always say it with such love and passion. And it's like the first time you're telling it. So, yeah, just share with us just that special day in sports, in your life, and I guess for all humanity on September 23rd, 1992.
So what I remember the most about this game, it's that walk from my locker room to the ice. I remember it's probably the moment in my life that I was the most nervous. My heart was beating so fast. It's almost like coming out of my chest. And the most amazing thing is when I stepped on the ice, the butterfly went away and I was just in my moment, in my place. And I forget that I was playing an NHL game, and it was just the coolest feeling to know that when I stepped on that ice, this is what I love to do. And I remember also they got a power play right away, right from the start. And I was thinking to myself, really? I'm starting against a power play right away. But in hindsight, it was the best thing because I got a few shots right away and I got into the game. And, you know, and just to see the players like trying so hard in front of me, they wanted me to be successful. And that felt really good.
Isn't it amazing that you could be so nervous at one point in time, and then as soon as you get onto an area or in a room or whatever it may be of somewhere that you've been hundreds and thousands of times before, there's just such a calming sense to it. Yeah. And for you, that was the ice. That was inside the crease. I think a lot of people, if they were in your position, would have been nervous. They would have been scared even while on the ice because, I mean, NHL players, in my opinion, I think it's one of the toughest sports by far from a physical standpoint, and definitely as a goalie, mental as well. But, I mean, shoot, you're stopping like 80, 90 mile per hour shots. And again, you stopped 7 of 9 against Hall of Famers. I mean, like it was just pretty nuts to for you, I'm sure, to experience that. And even that game, it didn't come easy. I read that there was a player on the other team that when the play had stopped, was kind of like laying on you in the crease and not getting up and thinking that it was like funny, but it's just like, dude, come on, you know?
Yeah, like, you know, that I just remember that game went so fast. Like that 20 minutes is the fastest 20 minutes I ever experienced. And it's almost like surreal by the end of it that like it's already over. I enjoyed every single moment of it. And like I got ran into during the game because the other team, they didn't want to lose against a girl. Like, I had to face that. That's what people didn't realize. Not only being a goalie, it's a position that you're under a lot of pressure. That's the reason why I picked that position. I love that pressure. But I was a girl, and nobody wanted to lose against a girl. So their shot was harder, their try harder. I got ran a few times in the net, both at camp and during that game. But you know what? I knew that I would have to face that, and I was okay with it.
Literally the ultimate challenge that you faced on the ice, then off the ice as well. There are reporters who would just ask some pretty crazy questions, which not every player is getting. And you even handled those with such great class. And that's kind of the theme that we're seeing right here with you is the fact that you handled everything so well. How did you kind of, I guess, control your emotions as well as you did? Because some of the questions that reporters would ask you would just be nuts.
The most important thing for me, knowing that I was the only girl in a team with all men, I needed to make sure that I was not a distraction for the rest of the team. I didn't want to feel I had any privilege, or I didn't have to do the same thing they had to do as far as training. So I didn't want to be a distraction. So even if the media was mean to me, I was just answering the question my best ability. And I remember one of the questions when they asked me, like, how do you feel when it's that time of the month for you? And I look at him like any other female athletes that go through this. But I said, actually, that's when I play my best. And that was the truth. So I guess I was just being myself. I was not even complaining. Like if a guy was not happy with me on the team, a team playing against us was not happy to face a girl, or media not happy to see a girl out there, I just had to, I didn't want to let that bother me. And I didn't want to be the person that complained about that, because it would have been harder for me to be accepted. So I think the guys, when they saw that I was not complaining about anything, I was working hard, and I just loved the game so much. I was always the first one on the ice, always the last one leaving the ice. And they saw how much I was taking it seriously. And I got accepted that way.
And it was pretty much the beginning for you when it came to your career with playing with men. I mean, you played for 6 years professionally after that, another exhibition game against the Bruins. I mean, not many people could play a sport for that long, especially nowadays. Everybody seems like they're replaceable, but you really made your mark that night and continued to make your mark. And at the time, maybe you didn't realize your impact as much as you did. Have you realized the impact that you have had because of your amazing accomplishments with becoming the first woman athlete in any of the 4 major North American sports?
Actually, when I played in Tampa, I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know I would have such a big media attention. Like, I just went there because someone was giving me an opportunity of a lifetime that anybody that plays the game at a younger age dream of. So, and I went for it. And it's not until years later that I realized my story impacted people, and that, it was a positive thing and people would be inspired by it. So, and now, even more now than ever, I think now every time I do interview, the way my story is portrayed now versus then, it's such a different way. Like back then, they were just mentioning the publicity, just mentioning like, oh, Tampa was a new team. And now they're looking deeper than that and looking at like my performance, that I deserve to be there. Like one of the most amazing interview I did, it's about 20 years after the event. Terry Chris, that was the coach back then of Tampa, was interviewing me from Nashville. And he admitted that at first he was not happy to see a girl at camp. And then when they decided for me to play, he admitted that I deserved to play, because during the mini camp, I played well enough to deserve that spot. And it felt so good to hear it. Like finally, they were talking about my performance and not just the fact that I was the first female and it was just for publicity. And it was really cool. And I heard that again, like just a couple days ago, someone called me to do another interview. And that person said, I know you, you may not know me, but I played against you when you were younger. And I always had that question. He said, why did you never went and try out for the midget AAA after Bantam AA? You were so good when we played against you. And I said, because I didn't get invited. they didn't want a girl there. And it was so cool to hear that from a guy that played against me. And it really like validated what I did when I hear those comments. But it took years after the event for those comments to come out.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, you don't win an Olympic medal. You don't become the first in so many different things. You don't play in the NHL just by showing up. You got there. You earned every single thing that you have accomplished, whether it is a medal, an award, or a title, whatever it may be. And just the impact, like you said, like you had a former player who played against you ask that question. I mean, as you're saying that, I'm thinking back to memories of being a young kid in New Jersey, going to a rock and roller game and seeing you play. And as a kid, my favorite player was Marty Brodeur, which your style is very similar to New Jersey Devils legend Marty Brodeur. So like as a kid, I'm like, wow, that is so cool. Like that is amazing what you were doing. And I just wish and I hope that we're going to be in a place sometime soon where that can happen again. And your story and what you have been doing with these interviews and continuing to share and spread your story, I think will only help that, give it a platform. I think what the NHL has done recently in the NHL All-Star Skills Competition, having the women play during that night, I thought that was great. Hillary Knight in 2014, she played with the Anaheim Ducks in a practice. She's a two-time Olympian. I think that's awesome. But I think what it comes down to, the root of what's giving everybody so much hope is you.
I think every time a woman do something special, different, it always helps. I'm hearing so many more female, like referee in the NFL, one actually in particular, and a female coach in the NFL, and now like Cami Granado being a scout for the new team in Seattle, and Haley Wickenheiser working with the Toronto Maple Leaf, player development. It's so cool to see more female involved in the professional sports, because I think a lot of the female, sometimes physically we may not be able to play like full time in different position, but our knowledge of the game and our passion for the game is there, and to be able to utilize those women in different position, it's actually great.
Now, you've gotten the chance to like see some of those women through social media, through some of their posts. Just recently, the NHL had a post for your anniversary of playing in the NHL. You got a lot of love. Angie had pointed that out during our interview. She noticed that was the most liked photo on NHL's Instagram page. I mean, when you see all that stuff, especially from young girls playing, I mean, what does that mean to you?
I have to say, in my entire experience of hockey, playing, going to the NHL, going to the Olympics, the most satisfying part is I was able to inspire people with my story. And I say that all the time, and I mean it. It's the feeling of knowing that someone now wants to go after their dream, or I have a mom coming up to me telling me like, you're such an inspiration for my daughter, or my son did a project on you. I even have like people interviewing me, Mike McKenna, like you did a podcast and he played in NHL as a goalie. And he said to me, when I saw you there in Tampa, I said, if a girl can do it, I can do it too. And I even inspired men. So it's the best feeling. I think we need more like positive, uplifting story in the world today to be able to be inspired. And my favorite thing is to listen to other people's story. It kept me going all the time. Everybody goes through ups and downs in their life, but when you hear those good story, when I see someone like Kendall Coyne, which I had a chance to coach when she was younger, and I saw her character right away at 12 years old. Her work ethic was so good. I knew this girl would make it somewhere, not just in hockey, but in life. And sure enough, now she's so successful and she's doing so well. It's just a cool feeling.
Now, you mentioned some of the people that you had an impact on. We started this interview talking about the foundation of your family and where your character grew from. Your brothers, again, playing hockey, one of them winning a Stanley Cup with the New Jersey Devils, the immediate impact that you had with your immediate family, and just the fact that you've had such a huge impact on an even larger scale globally, and the fact that your story is still being able to be told today is just, it's just awesome. And it's going to be continued to get told through children's book, which is a top selling book right now on Amazon under new releases. The movie that you're going to be having coming out too, Between the Pipes, I think right now is probably just the beginning of your story being told even more. And again, you're immortalized with the statue. I mean, I think that everything's going to take off even more now.
Yeah, it's just been an amazing project for me to be involved with both the children book and the movie. And the brand statue was just such an honor to be having my city, Quebec City, having that at the Colisée, or now it's the new facility, but it used to be the Colisée there where the Pee Wee tournament happened. But it's such a great honor. And the project with the book and the movie, I remember when Angie Bolero met me and she said, listen, in my next project, I want to be able to do a movie with a female lead and inspire people. And as soon as she said the word inspire, I'm like, I'm in. It didn't take me long to be part of that project. And that's what we're hoping to do. In the book, I'm really hoping to inspire the next generation of young people. And it's not just in hockey. And this is so nice to read, all the comments about the book. And that's what people say. This is not just a hockey story. This is like a life story about, having a passion for something. And to me, I want to tell people, if you're passionate about something, you work hard, you don't need to fit the mold of what you should look like. You can be yourself. Like, I certainly didn't fit the mold of an NHL goaltender. Actually, I probably had everything against me. I was small, I was a female, and I speak French. So you put all this together, that was not the best mix for, what an NHL goalie should look like. But I love the game, and I got an opportunity, and I took the risk.
You're completely right. It's not just for hockey players or people who want to become hockey players. It's your story is for anybody and everybody. It doesn't even matter if it's a children's book. I mean, shoot, I'm probably going to read it when it comes in the mail. And when I started this show, again, keep swinging, all about stepping up to the plate. Just keep on going, keep on trying. Just do whatever it takes in order for you to get to your goal. And you, again, were one of the first people that came to mind out of all the athletes and celebrities or whatever the heck it is, because you're just such a trailblazer. And man, I'm just so stoked that you're able to spend some time with us this afternoon and share your story and just continue to inspire people. And for all the listeners out there, if they are thinking about setting upon some journey that they want to accomplish or attain some goal that they may think is impossible, what would you tell them?
Putting yourself out of your comfort zone, to me, it's the best way to be successful. Not be afraid of it, and not be afraid of rejection. I remember when people said to me, "Are you not afraid to look bad?" Or, this is the NHL, this is the best player. And I said to myself, what is the worst thing that can happen? I go there, I don't have a good camp, and everybody's going to say, see, she's a girl, she didn't belong there. That's the worst that can happen. I can move on from that. But what's cool, it's what great can happen if I have a good camp. And that's what happened. I had a really good camp. I got to play, and it changed my life. I truly believe that it changed my life. I was from Quebec. I didn't speak the language. I wanted to be a school teacher. I would have had a different life if I would have never made that decision. So not be afraid to take some risk. And that would be my best advice.
And with applying that type of advice, you live with zero regrets. I mean, right now, could you imagine waking up tomorrow and saying, oh man, I wish that I had actually taken Phil up on that offer to go play for the Lightning?
That was my biggest reason why I decided to go. I did not want to have any regrets. And I use this all the time when I coach young girls now. If we go to a big tournament, a final game, I took a girls team to the big Pee Wee tournament one year. And I told them before the game, enjoy every moment out there. You don't want to have any regrets after the game and say, I should have done that. I should have done that. So that's kind of like how I looked at it. When I got invited, I'm like, no, I don't want 20 years from now. I said, what if?
Do your sons know the level of I guess, difficulty and just the amazing feat that you accomplished? I know your older son probably does, being a goalie himself in college at Notre Dame, but they got to be real proud of their mom, I'm sure.
I think my son now realize more now the last like few years with all like the media attention, people talking about it or watching the NHL game the other night and see their mom on TV. Before that, I was just a mom. So they didn't really realize it. I think more now than ever. But I think that what I'm trying to teach them now, them going through the journey of hockey, it's what I learned from my parents. And I think that often I try to tell my parents of the kids that I coach, you know, it's okay for your kids to have disappointment. It's okay for your kids to get cut from a team. Trust me, I got cut more than once in my life, and that's what built my character, and that's why I was able to accomplish what I accomplished. So, and that's what I'm doing with my kids. Like they went through disappointment when they were younger. I know Dylan is now in college. You know, he faced tons of adversity, and he got stronger and better because those adversity, and now he's playing college hockey at a great college at Notre Dame. So, and same thing with my younger child. I remember one tournament, he was barely playing when he was really, really young and crying and be disappointed. And that moment was really hard as a parent, but I knew something good would come out of it. And sure enough, after that tournament, he was asking for training, and I never saw like his work ethic change like so much, because when you're young, everybody thinks they're the best until you face some kind of adversity. And now I never, like, you remind me of myself, like just want to do more every single day. And I think that's important. I want my kids to learn what I learned when I was younger, because I know that's going to help them later in life.
They have the perfect role model right inside their home. So, and what's also really cool about this is that because Dylan's playing at such a high level right now, I mean, you go onto the Notre Dame website and you see the biography or family notes and you see your name and played in the NHL. So he is in a way allowing your story to continue. Again, the children's book, the movie that will be coming out. So the early 90s was a very special time for you with all of your accomplishments. And I got a feeling that 2020 and 2021 moving forward the next decade, I think that this is going to be another great second wave for you to relive all those moments, continue having an impact. And I'm going to ask you the same question that the reporter asked you when you were 11 years old. Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to continue standing up for the equality, for women's rights? Are you ready to continue this fight?
Absolutely. I'm ready to continue to fight and prove everybody wrong and continue to support people that wants to go after their dream, because I think it's important.
All right, Manon. Well, I'm going to be right behind you. So if there's any way that I could ever help, you let me know. But Manon Rhéaume, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I want people to keep in touch with you. So let them know where everybody can find you for all the viewers and the listeners.
Yeah, on Instagram at Manon Rhéaume 33 and on Twitter. Also on the website, manonrhéaume33.com.
All right, Manon, thank you so much for your time. You are the best, an absolute boss. And wow, what a great career. What a great episode. And thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching that episode of Keep Swing. Man, we have so many more awesome guests on the way, and I don't want you to miss any of it. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, feel free to go back and watch past episodes. And again, if you subscribe to the channel, that is the best way to find out who we are going to have on the show next. And if there's a guest that you want on the show, I will do all that I can to have him or her come on. So please leave a comment. Let me know who you want to see on Keep Swing coming up. And also, too, feel free to leave a comment what you thought about the episode in the comment section below. Give it a like. And if you head over to Instagram, I'll be posting clips from all these interviews. Just a little daily inspiration. And there you can interact with me as well. Until then, have an awesome day and keep swinging.